What's up, guys? Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, February 16th in the garage because it's a windy son of a gun out there right now. Haven't been on the water about 4 times since the last video with mixed results at best. Got a couple of different bites that are going on, a couple of different things going on. So we'll get into that in a minute. As far as our lake level, we're at 914.05 right now. Basically a foot below normal winter pool. Sounds like we've got a couple inches of rain coming tonight, so that may change by the weekend. Water temperature, it did cool down quite a bit. We got quite a bit cooler with the snow we had last week, and the cold temperatures were right around that 47, 48 degree mark. Not really seeing a whole lot of variance unless you get way up into the rivers or way in the back of a creek where you've got some runoff that's still coming in. Some of that can be a lot cooler, or if you've got a lot of color in the water, that can be a lot cooler. But for the most part, we're in that 47, 48 degree range right now. But we are catching some fish. Things are definitely changing. Things have changed quite a bit in the last week. But best way to stay on top of that, of course, join Table Rock Fishing Intel, become a pro member. You get all that information, get those reports, the videos, the maps, all that information that helps you catch more fish on Table Rock Lake. But if you're coming down, so you're gonna fish the lower end of the lake. Fish the lower end one day last week, I don't remember which day it was. Went out trying to find some deep fish, and the shad have moved. There's a lot of shad have moved back into the creek since they've kind of slowed the amount of generation going through Table Rock. Starting to see a lot of shad moving into the creeks, and I think the runoff had something to do with that as well. But didn't really catch them deep. Kind of struggled. Had a hard time finding deep fish. I had a hard time catching them underneath the shad. Now, I did catch fish in the guts of the creeks, but they weren't deep. Those fish were only about 15 to 20 feet down, and most of those fish came either on a single Kitech swim bait, a 2.8, on a Gem Shad 2.0, or they came on an A-rig. And to catch those fish, you're gonna have to have targeting sonar, whether it's live scope, active target, whatever you may use. You do need to have targeting sonar to see those fish out ahead of you, throw past them and bring it through. So we have been catching some on an A-rig and some on a single swim bait doing that. Have been catching a few when you get a windy day on either a jerkbait or the jerkbait fish I've been catching have been on a spro. And relating to, they are brush piles, and that's kind of all over the lake. If you can find some brush piles that are in that 12 to about 18 foot range, that really seems to be the key depth where we're finding those jerkbait fish. And most of the fish, again, if you're targeting sonar, you can see them on the brush piles, and you can see them come out of the brush piles. Crankbait fish have been up a little shallower, about bites better later in the day as the water warms up, and that bite's actually better if you've got wind but no sun, or I'm sorry, if you got wind and sun, because it seems to warm that shallower water up. Most of those fish coming on a rock crawler on those transition areas from gravel to rock. So those are a couple of the key bites down there. Mid-lake area, you got the same thing going on. Tried to fish deep in the mid-lake area this past week as well, and really I just the deep bites just doesn't seem to be there. There's not a lot of fish out there deep, and the ones that are out there in the guts of the creeks and everything are not down deep below the shad. They're relating to the shad, but most of them are on top of the shad. And some of these schools of shad we're finding are, I mean, they're massive. They are the big schools that we were looking for all winter, but the fish are on top of them. The fish are a lot shallower, 10, 15, 20 feet deep. Catch them better on a single swim bait like a Kitech 2.8 and an A-rig. And again, use your targeting sonar, see the fish, throw past the fish and bring the bait by them. Seeing most of those bites. Did catch them on a jerkbait there as well, same thing. More around brush piles and cedar trees, though I did catch a couple off of cedar trees last week. And the crankbait bite, afternoons, if it's sunny and windy, you can catch them on a crankbait, mostly on chunk rock, ledge rock, that sort of thing. And mostly the transitions where it goes from a bunch of rock to smaller rock to gravel seems to be key on that. Go up in the James, and I fished the James either Friday or Saturday. It was kind of a confusing day. Found a bunch of shad in the guts of creeks and caught 2 really big catfish on a spoon. Caught about an 8-pound channel cat and probably about a 10 or 11-pound channel cat on a spoon underneath the shad, 52 feet deep. Could not find any bass underneath them, but it's the same deal. The bass seem to be on top of the shad or around the edges of the shad, but they're only, I'm going to say 10 to 15, even 20 foot deep. Catch them a lot better on a single swim bait or on an A-rig, and use your targeting sonar to find them. Jerk bait bite again. Spromic stick was my better jerk bait, and the brush pile bite is definitely stronger on those ledgier banks. Most of the brush piles are in about 18 foot of water, and come up to about 10, and you can see the fish come out of the brush piles if you're using targeting sonar to hit your jerk bait. The crankbait bite, kind of hit or miss. Didn't really catch that many on a crankbait, but I think we caught 3 or 4 and had a lot of fish slapping at it, and the ones we caught were hooked outside the mouth, so that tells me they weren't eating it real good that day. Had the wind, but we didn't have any sun, and I think that really affected how those fish were biting. They weren't real super aggressive, but you can catch them on a crankbait up there as well. And we did catch a few on a jig around boat docks, especially if there's brush around the boat docks. A couple of docks in Ants Creek we fished had some brush piles on it, and managed to pull some smaller fish. No real big heads out of there, but managed to pull some smaller fish out of the brush in the docks. Go up the White River. Was up the White River, I don't even remember, probably Wednesday or Thursday of last week. And again, tried to catch them deep. Deep bite's frustrating. Shatter in the creeks. The fish are not underneath them. They are relating to them, but they're not underneath them. These fish are suspended up in the water column, and you're much better off throwing a single swim bait or an A-rig at them and using your targeting sonar to see the fish and throw at them. You're not seeing big groups of fish, so don't think you're going to look out on your sonar and see a school of like 20 fish out there. Most of what you're going to see is 1s or 2s, and you're going to throw past them and bring the bait by them to get bit. But definitely have that tied on if you're going to go up the White. Crankbait bite was stronger up there. It was a sunny day, had some wind come up. Those sunny or those steeper banks with rock and gravel mix were really key. Most of the fish, I don't know, 5 to 10 foot deep, if that. In the wind, get a fish in the wind, and the sun really, really helps. So if you get a sunny, windy day, you should be able to catch them on a crankbait. Didn't throw a stick bait much when I was up there, but I have talked to a couple of guys who've been up there throwing a stick bait, and that's the same deal. They're catching them around wood cover. It seems like the trees are a little bit more important than the brush piles up that way, but either way, throw your jerk bait around wood cover, and you should get bit up the White River. Guys, we're halfway through February. Got a crazy weather couple of days right now coming up. Gonna have rain this afternoon. Got crazy wind right now. Gonna get some snow tomorrow. Supposed to be back in the 60s by the weekend, so I'll definitely be on the water by the weekend. But the bites are getting better. The fish are moving shallower. I say the deep bite's not there. I'm sure you can probably go out and catch them deep, but like I've been saying for the last few weeks, I'm pretty much over the deep bite. I don't want to fish deep anymore, so I'm really been looking for these shallow fish. So I'm going to be fishing shallow. There's plenty of fish up shallow. Feels like we may actually get a little bit early jump on spring unless we get another polar vortex to come through or something. But best way to know what's going on, best way to stay on top of these fish and know before you go. Join Table Rock Fishing Intel, become a pro member, and get those reports and all the information we put on there on a daily and weekly basis. But if you're coming down, you want to hire a guide, give me a call. Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either book online or shoot me an email. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching the videos, guys, and thanks for checking out Table Rock Fishing Intel if you haven't done so. But thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.